Savior, Jesus the Christ. This morning the message could be a little bit different. I'm going to be up here at the podium and ask Nicole to join me in a few minutes. But before we do, let's start with the prayer that you see up on the screens. Will you pray aloud with me this prayer? Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful, and kindle in us the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit, and we shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. Amen. Amen. One of the joys of getting to know Jesus in a better way is that we observe him in the Gospels relating to all kinds of people, of all kinds of walks of life, of all kinds of ages and so forth. And it's a beautiful thing. As we see him with people who are in good situations, we see him with people who are in challenging situations. Perhaps they have a disability, or perhaps they're more than capable of life. And I believe that as he relates to all these people in a different way, that attracts us to Jesus. And one of the favorite portions of Jesus relating to a different group of people was recorded in Matthew's Gospel, the 19th chapter, verses 13 through 15. It reads, "Then little children were brought to Jesus for him to place his hands on them and pray for them. But the disciples rebuked those who brought them. And Jesus said, 'Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these.' And when he had placed his hands on them, he went on from there," it reads. Children are very special to Jesus for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons, he says, is that if you believe as a little child, you will enter the kingdom of heaven. And as we see children, we know that they trust and they believe. This weekend, Kathy and I are watching our two youngest children, grandchildren, I should say, and we got them on Friday, and we take them back tomorrow. And that's the nice thing about being a grandparent, you can take them back. Kennedy is 3 years old, and Landry is 1 year old. And they are active, healthy children, and we celebrate that for sure. One of the joys of life certainly is being a parent, and many of you know about that. One of the great joys that we have found too is being a grandparent as well. And I know that a number of you have that same kind of joy in your heart and mind as you go through life as well too. Here at St. Andrew, we are also blessed to have children, not only in our Sunday school on Sundays, and we'll celebrate that next week, but we also have children here Monday through Friday from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening, each and every week of the year, except for 1 week when we close down to take care of the facilities and so forth. And for those of you who don't have grandchildren, I want to invite you to think in terms of those children here at St. Andrew being our grandchildren, if you will. Because as we serve 2-year-olds through probably about 6 or 8-year-olds throughout the year in camps as well as in our classes and so forth, we are truly blessed. And God has blessed us over the last 11 years of having the academy that has brought a number of families from the community that otherwise we wouldn't have a relationship with into the family of St. Andrew. One of our first students, the very first year, I remember we weren't able to start because of various licensing challenges and those kinds of things until the end of September, beginning of October. And one of the first students, though, that we had as we gathered in chapel in those early weeks was a young lady that today is in our middle school ministry, and she's in our confirmation class and so forth. And so we are establishing relationships with people and with families and so forth, and we're very blessed by that. And we oftentimes welcome families that otherwise we would not have any kind of relationship with them. One of the things that I'm proud to say in regards to our academy that isn't true of every preschool is that we accept what are called SR students. And SR students stands for School Readiness students, and they are underwritten by the state because of financial obligations that their parents have and so forth, that they can come to school and they still have to pay something, but they don't have to pay the whole freight for various dimensions of our ministry. And that has been such a blessing because I suspect it's somewhere around 10 to 15% of our students are SR students. Wouldn't that be about right, Nicole? Yeah, about 10 to 15%. And so, and we presently have 52 students enrolled for this year, beginning tomorrow, and we still have some room in the 3-year-old and those who don't quite make the cutoff for VPK. So if you know anybody who has a 3-year-old that needs to have care and a learning situation, by all means, encourage them to contact us. But and I know that many of you in the congregation regularly do pray for our academy, as well as are supportive of it financially, are supportive of it from the standpoint of donating snacks and those kinds of things, because so many of the children that we get are not really, quite frankly, prepared for breakfast and that kind of thing at home or for lunch. And so some of you I know donate those kinds of things. And what a blessing to those families. And as Nicole can probably tell you, and perhaps we'll share this morning, that so many times we encounter families that have a number of challenges. Perhaps they're broken families, perhaps they are families that suffer from drug use, perhaps they suffer from crime, those kinds of things. And so it certainly is a reflection in many ways of the community. And so we remember today, and I put it on your insert this morning, from Proverbs 22:6. It says this, and Proverbs, remember, is the words of wisdom. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." And so we celebrate that today. In the history of our academy, Nicole Pizzullo is our third director. And Nicole comes from us and has come to us in the month of January, this past January. So she started mid-year, and that was not an easy thing to do necessarily. But Nicole, I want to invite you to come on up and to share. I'm going to ask Nicole a couple questions, and she's going to respond. And I want to share with you, Nicole and I met on Thursday to talk about this, and then I met with her briefly on Friday, and I went into her office, and I said, "What is wrong with you, Nicole?" She didn't look at her best, the poor thing. And this morning, she texted me at 7 o'clock, bless her heart, and said, "I don't think I'm going to make the 8 o'clock service this morning," so she didn't. But we're glad she's here at 9:30, and so God bless you, Nicole. I think she's got flu probably or something like that anyway. So welcome, Nicole. We're glad you're here. Will you all welcome Nicole with me, please? Well, Nicole, welcome this morning to St. Andrew congregation and as well as to the Academy over the last 6-8 months. Nicole has been in the position of director since January, as I said earlier. Nicole, would you share a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm the Academy Director, as Pastor said. I have a son who is 13 years old. He's about to be 13. He's starting middle school tomorrow. So I'm super nervous about that. I'm originally from New York, so I've been in Florida for about 15 years, and that's where I kind of started my teaching career as I came into Florida. Originally, my degree was in child psychology, but then as I worked more with children, I realized for myself, I'd better help in a different capacity rather than that's a big job to take home at night. So I decided to get into education with younger children to kind of help, spread positivity to the children and to staff and around me.
And Nicole, what drew you to education? And tell us what about yourself in education.
Well, I've always known I need to work with children. I love to work with children. They're amazing. And I don't know, as I said, I started out doing psychology, and then I started teaching. And I got my degree actually in elementary education for a little bit older children. And then the more that I've learned and worked in preschools and went to trainings, I really seen that the need was more for early childhood education, which I'm going to pursue another degree in the earlier childhood education, just because it's so, these are the children's formative years. It's so imperative, the difference that we make, the difference that the teachers create in their classrooms, being positive role models. They have the chance to guide these children, you know, physically, developmentally, spiritually important, you know, and as you just recited from the Proverbs, that is so true. If you train these children now, this is what they are going to grow to. And I believe all of the teachers and staff at the academy, they have that capability, they have that in their heart, where they genuinely love, and they're teaching, and they're praising these children, and then they're creating this positive culture. This is what I want to kind of bring in, to create a culture where it's positivity. Pastor sent me an email from, was it John Gordon, and it was amazing. And he said something basically that, what did he say? He said that positivity is infectious. And I love that. I'm like, because it is, and it's infectious. And reports state that emotions, you are affected by everybody's emotions. And if you think about that, that's so powerful, because not all the times our emotions are happy or excited, but we have to kind of self-reflect and see what we're presenting before us, like what little minds we're shaping and how we go on with our day. We might be having a little bit of a bad day, but we got to try to find a way to redirect that, because these little lives are the minds that we are influencing for the future. They are our future. And if we can just little by little, like just plant that seed of education, of spiritual growth, I mean, these kids are going to be way ahead than most.
So, Nicole, what has been your experience from January till now as director of our academy?
Well, the experience, honestly, it was tough walking in mid-year to a school in the middle of January, because the teachers were very well operated. So it was like, okay, why do they need me? Because everybody did what they had to do. They came to school, they did their lesson plans, their classes ran smoothly. So what I did, I just kind of sat back. I kind of observed the classrooms. I went into the classroom, spent time with the teachers, the families, the children, kind of just try to get to know everybody more or less before making any changes or, you know, doing anything like that. So then after a few weeks, actually, it was Miss Becky who had said something to me. I'm making her nervous. I'm not going to call you out here. But I was walking by, and Miss Becky's like, "You are really freaking out my teachers." And I'm thinking to myself, okay. And I'm like, is this a good thing? Do I ask her why? You know, because of course. And I'm like, reluctantly, I said, why? And she said, because every morning you walk into their classrooms and you say good morning to them and their students. And I thought for a minute, I'm like, I didn't know whether to take that, well, am I being overbearing? Am I being annoying to them? And then it wasn't until a few days later that I had an early morning meeting. I had a couple of meetings back to back, and I wasn't in the academy until later on in the afternoon. And several teachers have come up to me and were like, where were you? Where were you this morning? So it was just that, like as small as it was, like I didn't think of it, like, but that's when I knew that I was making a difference. Like it was small, it was so minuscule, you ladies might not have even realized it, but it meant a lot because it was insignificant, but I made a positive difference in the morning, in their morning routine, just coming in, being, smiling, touching them, you know, seeing what's going on, and just that little thing. And everybody has the power to do that, not just as an educator. Everybody has the ability to send positivity to the next man. That's just how it starts. And just creating that culture. And I think we all work well, and we're all getting, you know, used to each other and meshing well now, where we are getting on that ground, thank you, Rosie, of creating that like positive culture throughout the entire school and throughout the entire, all the ministries, trying to form everybody together. So I am very grateful for them. They have, I know it was probably tough for them at first, but I think all in all, I think we are a great team.
That's great. That's great. I know that Nicole has been very supportive of what we're trying to do here at St. Andrew, tying in with the academy families and the church family and so forth. And Nicole was involved in the Vacation Bible School here just a couple weeks ago, and she was real involved with the youngest ones, I believe, right? I got a little taste of what that's like this weekend myself. So, in any event, God bless you. And Nicole has also been very involved, like with the Family Fun Days, and we'll get involved next week and so forth, and trying to get families out. I know we've got a number of families out. The previous one at the end of the school year and so forth. And I know we're appreciative of that, Nicole, because it is a partnership. It's not as if we are renting space to a school that comes in and rents space because we have it available. Nicole is in all of our staff meetings, and on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, and joins us, so she knows what's going on, not only with her ministry, but she knows what's going on with our Sunday school, what's going on with our music program, what's going on in our seniors program. She ties in with that. They've also started to tie in with the Alzheimer's daycare over there as well too, and so I think that's really important. Nicole, I know that you've had a variety of experiences. Is there anything else you want to share about your experience here at St. Andrew?
It's been a different experience for me, just in the sense, but it's been a beautiful thing, where there is so many other outlets, so many other people that will lend an ear or helping hand. We are essentially, it's not just the academy, we are one big ministry, so that is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's interesting, Nicole had served for several years at Chesterbrook Academy. Is it Chesterbrook Academy? Is it? Yeah. Out in Tradition. And the clientele that we serve here is very different than the clientele out in Tradition. And I know that's been a little bit of an interest of yours as well, too, because Nicole has gotten very involved with situations that are challenging situations where Division of Children and Families has needed to get involved, and she's been helpful to them in that regard, and so forth, with situations that are above and beyond the standard call for teachers. But I think one of the things we need to remember and pray for, and not only at our academy, but at every school around the country, is that, quite frankly, at every school there is more expected at schools today in 2017 and 18 than ever before, because the family situations are put these children at such disadvantage so many times. And so I think we need to remember that, because there's a call for not only the children to be taught well, but to be safe, to be taught all kinds of things that are beyond the academics, for sure. Huh?
Yeah.
And so, Nicole, I want to thank you for coming and sharing today. And because I know you're not feeling well, and so I want to invite all of you to greet Nicole today. You don't necessarily shake her hand or anything like that. But make her feel welcome. Nicole's background is through the Roman Catholic Church, and yet Nicole, in the first 6 weeks she was here, she jumped in and was in the Discovery Weekend retreat and that kind of thing, and has been involved in everything and anything that she can be in. We're very appreciative of that, and we do see it as a partnership. God bless you. Thank you. Please sit down. Let's all stand right now, and what we'll do is let's share in the Apostles' Creed.